Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Start Fishing. It is Thursday, December 8th, 2021. Now, I've realized that due to the time change, I've got to switch things up a bit if I'm going to fish during the weekdays. So, by the time I get off work, most time, there's not enough daylight left for me to be able to haul the boat out to the lake or the river. So I've started doing something that I used to do before I had my boat, and that's use my kayak. So today I'm out on the Augusta Canal. Now, for those of you who are familiar with the area, I put in directly behind Lake Olmsted, and this is where Lake Olmsted empties into the canal. It's a really popular spot for bank fishermen. A lot of guys bring out wood pallets. They stack them along the bank to provide better access. But you might want to wear a pair of waterproof boots because you're probably still going to get wet. A lot of guys also fish off the bridge at the back of Lake Olmsted and have a lot of luck. So the Augusta Canal has been around for a long time. It was built in 1845. It was used as a source of power. It's been used for water transportation. It's actually the only intact industrial canal in the American South that's still in continuous use. During the Civil War, it was the site of the Confederate States of America Powder Works complex. It was deepened and widened. In the 1800s, the canal brought an industrial boom to our city, especially for textile manufacturing. But what most of us know about it today is that it's an amazing place to walk and, more importantly, fish. There are all kinds of different species here, and I just think a lot of people don't understand what they've got in their backyards. There are hybrids and stripers. There's largemouth bass and white perch and yellow perch, which is what I'm going to be targeting today. So the city of Augusta is actually dredging Lake Olmsted right at the moment, and that's what all these flotation devices are. They're actually part of that process. There's actually a pipe that runs underneath the water right here that's taking all of that sediment and dumping it on the other side of the canal. Now, I had a buddy who told me that the white perch were biting right here. There's actually quite a drop-off where these two pieces of water meet from Lake Olmsted and the canal. And it's usually a really good area to fish, and I'd already planned on kind of hanging out here and trying it out. But I really didn't have any bites, and so because of the fact that I was running out of daylight, I decided to go ahead and head up the canal and try to get to some of the areas that I have consistently caught yellow perch in the past. So I'm approaching the first spot that I really want to pay attention to. If you look in the foreground, you'll see there's a bridge. That bridge is actually the Riverwatch Parkway. I'm not afraid of sharing my spots with everybody. In fact, the chances of me running into somebody that's fishing one of these spots is usually pretty low. But I don't mind you knowing where they're at in case you get a chance to go out and try for them. So I am going to be fishing with a drop shot. I'm going to have a minnow that's about a foot and a half up above a weight. So I'm going to pull up to this area and drop that minnow down to the bottom, and I'll let the current just start floating me backwards. Hey, and there's my first fish. Since this was kind of a spur-of-the-moment trip, I didn't come prepared to actually keep fish. So strictly catch and release for this afternoon. Keep an eye off to the right of me. If you'll notice, you'll see people walking and riding their bikes. That's actually the canal trail. It's very accessible and very popular amongst our community, but if you like to fish, you can get to any of these spots basically by walking or riding a bike. So back when my kayak was my main mode of fishing, I actually had it all tricked out. I had a depth finder, which really helped me identify a lot of the spots that I'm still fishing in. So I'm actually in about 12 to 15 feet of water, which is usually where I'm targeting for yellow perch. But it's along a weed bed, which, as you can see, there's lots and lots of weeds. But it's also a little out of the main channel, so the current's not quite as strong here as it is on the other side of the canal. I think that can also be very, very helpful when trying to locate yellow perch in the canal. There's another nice little perch. So there is a boat ramp at Lake Olmsted where you can put a regular boat in, but it is illegal to run a gas motor in the canal. But you can use your trolling motor. The problem is because of the dredge work, there's no real way to get a boat into the water at the moment, so kayaks are the only way to fish the canal unless you're fishing from the bank. So once you find an area that's holding yellow perch, you can just keep coming back to it and floating over it over and over again, and usually you're going to catch multiple fish. And there's number 3. Oh, this is a good one too. At this point, I'm starting to wish that I had brought a stringer of some sort. There's my 4th yellow perch. So there is no size limit for yellow perch in the Savannah River Basin. Oh, there's number 5. And number 6. But I don't think this is a perch. Nice little brim. So an interesting side note for this particular trip, if you look underneath my left elbow, you can see my wallet is kind of laying on the edge of the kayak. I did not place it there on purpose. It kind of came out of my jacket at some point. I say this because somewhere on this particular trip, I lost the keys to my truck. And so I was stranded when I got back to pull the kayak out. I had no way of getting the kayak home. It was a mess, and it actually cost me over $300 the next day to get a new set of keys made for my truck. Not the best ending that I was looking for what was a really good trip. Well, that's about it. So listen, if you live in the area, try out the canal. I'm telling you, you'll be impressed. There are some amazing fish in here. Put your kayak in at the Savannah Rapids Pavilion and just float down the canal and just drop shot those minnows just along the bank. I guarantee you're going to get into the yellow perch at some point, especially this time of year. That's all I've got for you guys. Thanks for stopping by. Keep an eye out for my next video. If you haven't hit subscribe, please do so. And thanks for being here. And remember, if you see me out on the water, be sure to stop and say hello.